Oh, Dean's on here.
Warning. The following broadcast features thoughts, ideas, and opinions you might find offensive. If you're easily angered, insulted, hurt, provoked, outraged, or annoyed, the following may offend you. The views expressed in this show are solely those of the individuals providing them and do not reflect the opinions of YouTube or Google. So please, don't flag this video. Viewer discretion is advised.
Hi guys, how you going?
Hey. Welcome to episode You Don't Know of Doug's Adventure.
Do you want to touch on that at the start? You want to get that out? Or we're just going to keep that a secret? I don't know what episode this is, by the way, guys.
We don't know.
Echo is back,
And
apparently.
Echo is the bane of my
Return of the Echo, yay. Hey, Badass Ninja. Hey, Ariel. Hey, Ben. Hey, Danbreaker. I saw Slops is in here. I saw Emily on Elm Street. Hello.
Okay. Yo. Echo. I don't. Probably me. It's always me. That's delayed, so I'm sure they'll say. Well, it's delayed, so I'm sure. No echo now. Sweet. Okay. Sorry. Okay, so quick, I guess, housekeeping. Now we have housekeeping because I can't hear Emma now. How did you know? Oh. I don't know how. I don't know. Hold on. We'll work on it. You explain the episode thing, and I'll fix the sound.
If they can hear me, though, because otherwise that wouldn't make much sense, would it?
They should be able to now.
Can you hear me? If it's not one thing, it's the other. Can you guys hear me? Can you guys hear me? I know there's a delay. Now you can hear, but there's an echo. Okay, cool. Okay. So, while Nightmare Maven is fiddling around with the technical ish, we are on our 12th, 11th. What are we? Yeah, we're on an episode, right? And this episode we're going to talk about, we decided we wanted to talk about millennials since a lot of people have issues with them. We wanted to find two films that we could talk about with those issues that involved millennials. But the thing about these two films is they're very different because they're about 5 years apart. Where have I got it? So it's 2012 and 2018. So 6 years apart. Is that math? Yes. And we're talking about Slender Man today, which obviously came out last year, and Smiley from 2012. And Smiley is the Shane Dawson movie, so we're very on topic. We could hashtag him in this and get some interesting audience. So yeah, we're talking about millennials today. I guess we'll wait until, are you good with the technical? We're just going to keep the...
I don't know, I'm waiting for the chat to tell me.
Okay. Let us know about the sound, guys.
Tell me. For some reason, like on my little YouTube live dashboard, it's like still scrolling, but over here it's fine. So it's okay. Tell me.
You can hear them both, but you can't see me?
Oh, well, that's because, sorry. No, that's fixable. Is there an echo, though? I know the whole thing with Emma. And just tell me if there's an echo. Sound is back. Sound is good. No echo.
Okay, cool. No echo.
Thank you. Okay, now we'll fix Emma. There we go.
Good job, man. Okay.
Sorry.
Can you both give your
using this
thoughts?
next time. Don't worry.
Ryan, we don't have no basic thoughts. Hey, Raiders, how you going? What do you mean? I mean, we're technically okay. Should we define millennial? The thing about millennials, though. There is several different. What's the age bracket? There's several different ways people go, like cut off the age bracket. Yeah. But I guess the main guidelines is they are anywhere between 22 and 37 years old now, which is insane because. How can you call someone who's nearly 40 a millennial? Like, it doesn't make any sense to me because I feel like a lot of people use the term to talk about kids now. So those aren't millennials. And you meant to be born between 1981 and 1996, which is a huge bracket, but yes. Yeah. I have all the basic thoughts because I'm basic, right? You're basic. Okay. Hey, Kevin.
I feel like we're technically Generation Y, and I think like millennials is like an alternate name, and it's become like you said, just like this other thing for like young people. Like all of us young people are millennials. Like.
Yeah. Oh, well, it says millennial. Now it says millennials are currently 20 to 35. So it's all over the place. Whatever you Google. They also get called Gen Y because they follow from Generation X. Yeah. Okay, so it's very confusing. But I think a lot of people just use the word millennial to say anyone who was born within the era of social media, which, Dean.
Thank you, Dean.
That's my boyfriend, by the way.
You're basic.
I don't know if anyone watches the Good Place. Anyway, that wasn't a joke. But what was I saying? Okay, so millennials, obviously people use that to, I guess, insult. It's like an insulting term in a way.
It's kind of like, oh, those millennials.
Yeah, and anyone born within social media, which you and I weren't born within social media times anyway. Oh. So it don't work that way. I think a lot of people get confused. Anyway, so I think it was good that we picked two films that were so different within age range because it really does show the political correctness that has changed between Slender Man and Smiley. Like, Smiley is just insane. And I know it might be because it's produced by, like, YouTubers, so it's a little bit different and they get away with more. And it's more edgy, if you want to call it that. It's more crappy. So what do you want to start with is my question to you. I know you've got a lot to say on Slender Man, but should we hop into Smiley first just because maybe it becomes before that? What do you think?
Yeah, let's do Smiley because I feel like the references they're making in it are a bit older than in Slender Man, so we'll go timeline with this one, I suppose.
Okay. A short timeline, two stops.
Very short. Okay, so Smiley, really quick, follows college student Ashley, who discovers an internet urban legend, Smiley. And Smiley can only be seen on the web after he is summoned Bloody Mary style by typing, "I did it for the lulz," 3 times. Ashley tries to tell the authorities to no avail when her friends start dying, leaving her to try and stop Smiley herself, if he's even real. ...
Yeah. There will be spoilers, guys. There will be spoilers because especially with, I mean, Slender Man, there's not really much to spoil, but Smiley, it all changes by the end, if that makes any sense. Let's talk about how far we've come with language. The funny thing that, well, not really funny, but like it was more shocking. I watched Smiley around the time it first came out. I would say probably a little bit later. No, probably around the same time. And at that time, I was not surprised by anything that was in there. But rewatching it, oh my gosh, they use a lot of language that is just like poor form. They use the word retarded several times. It's not once or twice; it's several times during the movie. Yeah. They also, I've written down, they made fun of handicapped cops, which you shouldn't be using the word handicapped anymore anyway, but it was just bizarre. There were so many weird things in there that it just didn't make any sense why they were using that language. It was kind of to be edgy, and I guess that's Shane Dawson is in the movie. If you guys don't know who Shane Dawson is, he's a pretty big dude on on YouTube, but also he had an early career of doing a lot of parodies, doing a lot of like really silly kind of humor, making fun of a lot of things that now is like, at the time was edgy and now is just kind of like shocking.
Yeah.
Like, and we're both fans of Shane Dawson now, but like I'm pretty sure we both don't condone some of the stuff that he's done in the past. Yeah, it's really bad. Yeah. So it's kind of like that same edgy humor in that, because it's made by YouTubers. But there's something that is really surprising is the pedo bear was what got me, because that is bizarre. He pretty much gets bullied in the movie for reporting someone using underage pictures or something like that.
Yeah. Basically being like, you know, like I took it in the movie as like they were more mad at him for kind of like narking on the group, but it was for pedophilia. So like any normal person would be like, yeah, that's what you should have done. But like he gets like almost bullied in the movie a little bit because he like narked because of some pedophilic behavior. Yeah,
so they called him pedo bear, which makes no freaking sense. But yeah, it's just like the biggest role reversal where now, you know, people are being seeked out and like problematic past is being brought forward where they were like, shut up, let it happen. You know, like it was just bizarre. The differences are just insane. And that's what I kind of felt like that was the most shocking to me.
Yeah, it was. I mean, it was kind of like, I don't know, like for the time though, it was just like if I think back to like watching this movie like back then, I wouldn't have found that stuff as shocking.
Yeah, great.
As I do now.
Yeah. No, I agree.
Like, yeah, so like I get it, but at the same time I'm like, It kind of, I mean, I don't want to like really bring this up. It kind of is the controversy a little bit, or not like controversy, or the little bit of like cancel culture that happened like recently with Shane Dawson because of this same edgy humor.
Totally.
Kind of around the same time, like.
Oh yeah, and this is the same thing. He has had problems with edgy humor throughout his whole career. Yeah. Some of it is like way too far. He's done some really bad stuff, but it all came off the back of comedy. And then there's like that whole question is, what people say is that nothing within comedy can be deemed. You know, like some people believe that comedy has the right to make fun of anything. So I guess that's with what you believe. But I definitely think it's very grating watching that now, because you have movies like there's a couple of movies that came out on Netflix. There was one about a girl, Barb, the Barb's from Stranger Things. You know what I'm talking about?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and then she kisses that guy, but he doesn't know it's her. And everyone was so shocked and went on to Netflix. They went on to, Twitter, and they were like, oh, my God, like, she did it without his consent. Oh, my God, this is the worst movie ever. And then you watch Smiley, and you're like, how far we have come. Like, it's bizarre. The differences, and I guess taking it from that millennial aspect, that was the main thing I got out of it. Another thing that I thought was like really intense was how shitty of friends they were. Like they were the worst bunch of friends. Like they weren't even friends. And when we get to Slender Man, I have completely opposite thoughts about that, where they're like actually close friends who kind of care about each other. But in this movie, they're just like, it's insane. So coming from it from a millennial perspective, I guess this would be the true term millennial if you're taking it between those age groups. But this movie compared to that movie, they're just completely different. And anything, it shows you that there's really no stereotypes within this younger internet generation.
Yeah. I mean, well, your note on that, like for the fake friends, like showing that nobody takes anything seriously kind of speaks to like the whole theme of the movie, which is I did it for the lulz. Like, it's like, that's like, I feel like in a sense is what they're saying about this, like this generation. Like we don't care about anything. It's all for the lulz.
Do you know what it makes me think of? I won't go into detail if someone hasn't seen it, but I know you've seen it. Assassination Nation, the ending. It's exactly the same. Like, do you remember the ending?
I didn't see it.
You don't?
I
I'm
didn't
sure
see
someone in the
it.
chat will remember. Yeah, you haven't seen it?
No.
I thought you had seen it. Oh,
No.
shit. Okay, never mind. You need to watch it because the ending is like so similar in a way. It won't ruin it, but it's like,
Oh, okay.
yeah. Okay, sorry. I
That's
thought you
fine.
had seen it.
No.
Oh, yeah, sorry. It is. That movie was called Sierra Burgess is a Loser. Yep, that's the one we were talking about. Cool.
Yeah.
Yes. What are some of your notes on this? What did you get out of this? How was this? Because this is your first time watching it.
Yeah. It's been on my list for a while, but I mean, when we were trying to come up with stuff, finally, and also as B pointed out, because Shane Dawson is in it. Part of it, I mean, just jumping off of earlier when we were talking about Pedo Bear and things like that. I feel like when I was watching the movie, like I was trying to put myself like how I was in like 2012, like, you know, so I was like thinking like, okay, I'm like a junior, senior in college at this point. Like I'm out of high school. Like I was trying to figure out like where we were. And I feel like still a lot of the references they were making were like totally old. And like, I mean, I'm not like a super like internet, you know, savvy person in the sense like I know everything about 4chan and all that, but I feel like nobody was talking about 4chan. I never saw any of those like green text memes that you saw all the time like when I was in high school and middle school. And even Pedo Bear, like, you know, like you look to when these things were popular and the references they're making, like, I mean, Pedo Bear was like, I found like Pedo Bear like became a thing in like 2003, like, and it was popular very much in like 2006. And at the very end when they make a reference to like Chocolate Rain, which the video was like posted in 2007, like, so even like, even for when it came out, I feel like still a lot of the stuff was like super dated. I don't know if you got that.
No, I didn't, because I watching it now, I just felt like it was all old, and I just kind of lumped it together. I get so confused throughout decades. So for me, it makes sense what you're saying completely. Yeah. But watching it back, it just feels like it's all kind of outdated. So I kind of just lump it together. But it's a great point.
Yeah, that's true.
Another thing that I felt was very off was they gave the main character bipolar. And it's very bizarre because it doesn't really fit into the story. And it's kind of taken seriously by Paris. Okay, I don't know what her real name is. There's the girl who plays Paris in Gilmore Girls.
Yeah.
I'm always like, Paris. And, you know, she has like a psych that she's talking to, or a school counselor, I guess she might be actually. Yeah. They don't really like tell you exactly who she is. But I feel like it's kind of put in there, like put someone who has like a mental health issue, so that there is a way that this could be all in her head and people don't take her seriously. And it just seemed like it was just a really cheap cop out. It was interesting. And it's interesting that even put it in this because it's such like a non-serious movie, and they give like the main character bipolar and show that she's been struggling in her past. And it just didn't make any sense with the storyline because it didn't have to be there. It was just a little bit strange.
Yeah. It just seemed like it was just like a really weird red herring to all of a sudden throw in. Like, I mean, it's an internet urban legend, so I feel like we're already supposed to question if Smiley's actually real or not. But then they just throw in that extra level of like, oh, she might be mentally unstable, so is it really real? Like, it was just like, it was like unneeded. Like, you know, I feel like it didn't really serve much of a purpose or anything like that. Yeah. It's like maybe if they had brought it around like full circle at the end, like after she jumps out the window or whatever, and you see like people talking about it, like that she killed herself because she was depressed or something, like maybe if it, you know, like they wrapped it up, maybe.
Yeah, no, completely. And I guess off the back of that is people not believing her, which gets to the cops, which the cops is bizarre in this because this, I guess, they try and show it like this was and I don't even know when internet law became a thing, but they make it so that the cops are actually laughing at her when she goes and tries to say what's happening. You know, some of my friends, like this person I know died on the internet. We have a video and they're like, ha ha ha, what do you expect us to do about it? Where, you know, with recent events that have been broadcast on the internet, that's taken very fucking seriously, and that would not fly. And if there was, especially if there was someone's death put on the internet, it would be a huge deal. It's just very different, and I guess this was made in a time when we were just coming into all of, you know, social media and all of those like laws kind of situations. I know it's a couple of years afterwards, but when everything was, you know, cyberbullying was a thing and all that kind of stuff.
Well, it's still like relatively new. I think, I don't know like when all of this, like, I don't know when every single big social media platform like came to be to the date, but like Facebook didn't become a thing until I was like a senior in high school.
I think it was 2008.
Yeah, like it really wasn't popular. Like before that, it was just MySpace, and there definitely was no like Twitter and Instagram back then either. So I feel like it was still relatively new when this came out too. So I mean, like in that sense, it kind of makes sense. Like people like didn't know what to do with that sort of thing, but it is a bless you. It is an interesting difference if you think like it's been, you know, like what, 6 years? You know, barely since that movie came out, and like the differences, like you said, with like recent events and like other things as well that have happened, like how quickly people like crack down and react to that, and like in just a short period of time.
Totally agree. Did you want to talk a bit about the backlash from Anon and all that kind of stuff?
Yeah. So this was like the first thing I found, like when I, you know, searched Smiley controversy or whatever. I guess the director, Michael Gallagher, I wrote his name down somewhere.
Yeah. No, is it Anthony or something?
Something like that. Gallagher. I know his last name is Gallagher. He referenced in the movie 4chan and the site 4chan and the group Anonymous are referenced a lot, and they're kind of made like the villains in the movie, essentially, or especially like Anonymous is made kind of like the villain in the movie. And these are like real things, like 4chan is a real site and all that. I don't know if it is now anymore, but
I haven't heard about it in a
while. But it used to be. And like the users of this site and like the members of this group or whatever got pissed and like went to this like insane level of like sending the director death threats. Like they got a hold of his address and phone number. Wow. And they were like calling him constantly, sending him messages, threatening his family. I think there was like a reference in one of the articles that they said that they were going to kill his dog and then try and frame him for animal abuse. Like it was like actually insane. And just from like the stories I found on it, it didn't look like the FBI. I don't know if the FBI like ever took action, but it seemed like at the time when the articles were written, they weren't very quick to take any action. Like they didn't, even then they kind of didn't know what to do with that sort of. So I don't know if like, if they ever took any action of that, but I thought it was interesting because in the movie, the cops also don't. No, I'm not saying they didn't take it seriously, but they don't do anything. Like they don't help at all in the movie. And when this very real thing happens, I don't know that the FBI actually took any action in this.
Yeah,
I mean, they can let us know if they're watching everything, right? So just let us know, FBI agent watching.
It'd be interesting to know when that like social media bullying and harassment laws came in.
Yeah.
Harassment laws. I'm seeing if I can find anything really quickly.
I don't know, because when I was taking like journalism law in school too, it really wasn't a thing either. So there really wasn't anything on that. I'd be interested to know.
I don't know when it came in. I guess it depends. But I mean, obviously now there's like revenge porn laws and all that kind of stuff coming in. So it's like, it's like, it's all happening so fast that there's nothing there in place to stop it. No one thought when the internet started that this was going to come out of it. It's pretty insane.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I guess the other thing, spoiler alert, with Smiley, is the fact that they make it seem like believing him creates him. You can call him whenever it's which does come into Slender Man. That's why I wanted to, touch on this. Obviously, in the end, we find out that that's not the case, and they're all just like fucking with her for no apparent reason, just because they're like evil. But it does toy with the idea that if you believe it and you put it out there on the internet, it becomes something. And I do want to talk about this maybe after we hit on Slender Man and like the Momo situation.
Yeah.
To Momo. The Momo effect, I'm going to call it. I'm going to dub that Momo effect. So I do want to touch on that later, but in this movie they do kind of hint at, if you call him and you want someone to die, then he will come, and it's just about believing. It's like those chain letters. They're only, those chain emails, they're only real if you believe they're real in the way. So
yeah.
Yes. Do you have anything else on Smiley?
I think we hit everything.
Ooh. Oh, okay.
It's pretty straightforward, I feel like.
Slender Man. This should be good.
Slender Man. Oh, yeah. I know everyone's going to have a lot to say on Slender Man.
I know Nightmare Maven has a lot to say in Slender Man. I've seen her notes. They're very intense.
Okay. I'm sure most of you guys don't need a summary since it only came out last year, but super quick. So after summoning the totally relevant internet urban legend Slender Man, a group of friends start experiencing, I'm already mad, start experiencing supernatural phenomena that makes them question whether Slender Man is just a legend or if he is real.
Obviously based on should we get into it? Look at Vicky's face. She's like, stop, I can't even. I've been asked a lot what I think of this movie, and I have to be really honest. The first time I saw it, I was like, this is trash. What is happening? I left the cinema going, what actually just happened just then? But rewatching it, I kind of understood the direction a little bit more. Don't hurt me. Because I feel like I could stand back and understand that it was meant to be like a psychosis kind of dream, and that's what they were going with. And I totally didn't get that the first time. I don't know why. I was just like waiting for the story to happen that didn't happen. So knowing there was no story this time and going in, everything's shot in like a really like it's a shallow depth of field, and everything's like very like dreamy and weird, and I get it. It's meant to be like what the feeling that Slender Man gives you. The whole fucking thing doesn't make any sense. It would be better as like a film clip, but I felt like I understood it a little bit more. And when I did my unpopular opinions, a lot of people actually said they loved this movie.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. See, there you go. Badass Ninja. I like Slender Man. I don't get the hate for it.
Yeah.
So there you go.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah. Where would you like? Do you want me to start with some of the stuff? I've only got a couple of notes, and then I'll let Vicky take the floor because I know once she starts, it's going to be. So as I said, psychosis. It feels like it's like kind of shot like a fever dream, but there's no real storyline in there. But it does deal with mental health because they do talk about how someone could have had psychosis. And they don't really explain it very well, to be honest. Yeah. They're like, yeah, and then this girl, she also had psychosis. And they're like, oh, well, that could be this. It made no sense. Anyway, and then my second note, which is a very short note, is Sony. We're meant to believe, this is actually offensive to me. I don't know if you can hear the homeless man outside my window. We're meant to believe that people walk around with Sony phones. And I find this deeply offensive. I've never met a person with a Sony phone. I don't know how you do it in America, but this product placement was just, what? Like, she's like, Sony. And I just don't believe it. It's not believable, and it's a little bit offensive to the audience. Okay, Vicky.
What if I was just like, plot twist, Sony phone?
Do you have a Sony phone?
No. I don't.
Oh my God, I would die. Because I don't know, it might be an American thing, but I've never seen a Sony phone. Like, I've never seen anyone with a Sony phone. Let me know in the. That would be so funny if you did, though.
I just wondering.
I don't think I've ever seen one. I would be surprised if they actually like sell them here. I don't even know. Okay.
I don't know. Okay.
Would you like? This is gonna be like Vicky's Red Christmas.
Ooh, it's funny because the thing I really get offended about isn't so much. Well, I'll get into it. So of course, like the big thing with this movie when it came out was the real life attack, real life stabbings that happened because of Slender Man, not because of this movie, but because of Slender Man. Just a quick refresher in case you weren't aware is two teens. Or they were 12 at the time, tried to kill a classmate to like win the favor of Slender Man. So they like lured her into the woods and stabbed her 19 times. And she managed to survive. She crawled out of the woods and, you know, a passerby found her, luckily. And when this all happened, like all three of them were 12 years old when this happened. And so, of course, when this movie was coming out, especially with the teaser trailer, which I put in here, because the very first teaser we got was that girl emerging from the woods and you see cops approaching her and things like that. And instantly I was like, oh, it's, you know, it's going to be kind of like based around that because like I got that image in my mind.
Mm-hmm.
And so, of course, like people started talking about it again. And when I was looking this up, like people were, of course, upset about the movie, but like legit, I found an article on Fox News a couple months before the movie came out. And this is the exact headline: Slender Man crime photos show blood-soaked clothing, kitchen knife used in attack. And you open it and you can literally see this poor girl's like bloody clothes from when she was stabbed 19 times by her classmates. And of course, nobody's talking about this, but like in journalism, timeliness is a big deal. You know, like you release stuff when the interest is high for it. And the article was posted like 4 years after the attack happened, 2 months after the attackers were sentenced. Like they were sentenced like at the beginning of 2018 or something like that in January. But, you know, like, it's just, like, it seemed a little bit too late to be of interest in that. And, of course, like, there were teaser trailers running around for this movie. And that, to me, was, like, way more offensive than, like, a movie being released about it. You know what I mean? I don't know if anyone else feels that way, but that, like, legit got me pissed off. And the father of one of the attackers, actually, regarding the movie, said, just like in short, like it's absurd that they would want to make this type of movie, like popularizing a tragedy, saying he's not surprised, but it's like distasteful because everyone is still living through the pain of these, you know, these families have gone through that sort of thing. But yeah, that pissed me off.
It pissed you off because of the article?
Yeah, that like, well, just in general, like people tend to like, nobody was talking about that. Nobody gets pissed about that sort of thing. But then like a movie comes out and, you know, all of a sudden people get on the defensive again, which I understand, especially like coming from somebody who's like a family member of any one of those girls. Like I get that, but I'm like, come on, they literally like released photos of this
pictures,
like, bloody clothes. Like,
yeah. I have to say with like true crime stuff, I go back and forth with it because there's so many instances that people tried to overlook. And this was my whole Lords of Chaos drama. Is a lot of people got really mad at me because they're like, this was a movie and it was on the tragedy. And yeah, anyway, there's a lot of movies that are based on true events that people really like to look over. AKA like Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, like that's going to be on a tragedy, like all of like the Marilyn Manson, all of the Charles Manson, turning into my mom, confusing Marilyn Manson and Charles Manson, all of the Charles Manson movies. And I mean, American Horror Story is one that's like definitely touches on a lot of stuff, a lot of real people and a lot of real tragedy. And there isn't a real line in horror, unfortunately. And it is sad because it's not like it's different when it comes out as like a drama. But, you know, there's like Wolves at the Door, which is actually kind of like trending on Netflix again now, which is about the Manson murders or Manson family. And yeah, it's like people pick and choose what they want to be offended with. And I mean, I can totally understand why they would be. So it's kind of hard for me to distinguish that within this, but at the same time, like the movie doesn't do a very good job at portraying anything that happened, and it doesn't go into, like, I was expecting to go into the court case and all that kind of stuff, and it's very interesting. And now that girl, she's playing, isn't she like the main girl in it? She's playing, not the main one, sorry, like the other one. I'm really good at this. She's playing Gypsy.
Joey King.
Yeah. Do you know what I'm talking about with Gypsy?
Yes.
What's that new show called?
Is it a show?
Yeah. Gypsy and
yeah. I know what you're talking. I thought it was gonna be a movie. Oh, okay, but yeah.
The murder of Dee Dee Blanchett, is that what it is? The case of Dee Dee. No, I believe it's a show.
Okay.
Because it's on. Yeah. Anyway, so very interesting. Because she's jumped from. That's the same chick, right? She's jumped from that to this.
Yes.
So, and she does a lot of horror stuff anyway. But I just think it's really interesting what people pick and choose. And of course, we have Dirty John, which I mean is a little bit different because Dirty John, I'm not going to spoil it, but everything ends well, in a way. But yeah, I feel like people pick and choose what they want to get entertainment value from and what they want to be offended by in terms of true crime. And I mean, I'm that too. Like I'm no different. It's really interesting trying to think.
Yeah.
Where is the line? I don't know where the line is.
I should clarify, at least I saw After Dark analysis. It is valid for the family to be pissed about it. I was more pissed about, I saw the date on the article, and as somebody who like took, has a journalism degree, I was like thinking like they were thinking of the popularity of the movie in mind. That's what they were thinking of, which is what pisses me off about that. Like, love true crime also, but there's a line.
Yeah. So the TV show, as everyone's saying, is on Hulu and it's called The Act.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
No. And I mean, you were right too to think it was going to be. I thought it was going to be about the case too, because like I said, that teaser trailer, the girl walking out of the woods, like it's very clearly referencing that. And I think wasn't everyone talking about it when the movie came out? They had to cut a lot of that out or something because
well, that would make a lot of sense, wouldn't it?
Yeah, and that like because I think people were saying that as a reason as to why it was so bad, because a lot of stuff was like cut out of it that would have made more sense, I guess. I don't know. Who knows if I don't know, is it on DVD? Does anyone have like an unrated version or something that or a director's cut?
No, that would make. Imagine if we actually watch it and all of the scenes are in there and it makes sense and it's like a great movie.
We just retract this. Like, sorry, it's not anymore.
Yeah.
And there is a couple other, I mean, the PSA kind of thing at the end, the voiceover from the little sister, Lizzie, also, I feel like kind of references that as well. She's like talking about everybody sharing pictures and photoshopping stuff, and she says, and some people cross the line and those messed up people go out and do messed up things, which to me is like, that's clearly referencing the stabbings, like, again. So I don't know, maybe shit happens, the end.
And it's kind of like, but you're right, because it was weird. Usually they have those things at the start or at the end saying, like this has violence and, scenes people might find disturbing, or like a suicide hotline or like something. But I like how their call to actions, like, let's just have like a weird voiceover and then we can wrap it around and we're sensitive. Like it was just, and having that hallway scene where it goes over the top of, it just didn't make much sense. It was kind of blaming it on the kids. It's very interesting. And I guess the difference between Smiley and this movie is so interesting because of the friendships between the kids, but also because they know the dangers of what's online. And it's more like, it kind of, if anything, it shows the deeper we go online, like the darker it gets, and the more people get used to online, the more like just disturbing things that can come out of it. Because I guess it was more brutal and not brutal. It was more like straightforward in Smiley. There was no let's wait for someone to die. He just comes up behind them and kills them. Where in Slender Man, it really kind of lured them into it in a weird way. Don't get me wrong. And they disappear, and that's meant to be scarier. It's very interesting how different the formula has changed.
It's interesting that you say that too, because we were talking about with Smiley, like the whole like disbelief of the cops and everything. And I think there was somebody said something to the effect of like, it's on the internet. Do we even know if it's real or not, or something, because it's on the, or something like that. Just like the attitude of like internet culture in Smiley versus Slenderman, where the kids are obviously way more tech savvy and internet savvy. Like we open it up and they're talking about Twitter and they're watching cat videos on YouTube and things like that.
They're watching porn at one stage,
yeah,
like all together.
Which I saw that and I was like, I've literally never been to a sleepover where we did that.
Yeah. And the antisocial like aspect of Smiley, like Shane Dawson's meant to be like the geek no one talks to, everyone like makes fun of him because he exposed like a pedophile. And it's so bizarre. And it's also just like a little bit of awkwardness. Like the main character meets him in the library and she's like, hi, and he's like, oh, are you talking to me? And it's like this weird disconnect where they're not kind of friends but they're friends. Where in Slenderman they're really comfortable with themselves. They're like being all jokey with the little sister and they seem very confident, and and they're better friends really for it. So it's very different, the approach. And that might be just, obviously, I don't think really it has much to do with time and age. It's more to do with the styles of the movies. Obviously, Smiley is meant to be comedic and silly. And thank God we didn't get that in Slenderman. If it was about a true case, that would have been really messed up. But can I jump into the Momo sitch, my Momo spiel?
Yeah.
The Momo effect. So I think that it's really interesting because, as you said, the end is when she has that little PSA where she talks about, we talk about him, we write about him, we share his pics, click links, photo images, blah blah blah. And they talk about how people do go out and do messed up things because they cross the line, and they're kind of blaming it on him, but also talking about how little people individually collecting an idea together can create something. And that's exactly what we saw happening with Momo this year. Momo, I'm sure you guys know what Momo is. Momo was a sculpture in Japan, I believe. And there was just a photo, someone took a photo and put it online, and everyone was like, making crazy, oh my God, Momo. And then this whole thing went around saying that Momo was telling kids to kill themselves. And it got debunked. It got debunked at the start because there was no video. It never happened. But then some people went and made the video. So there is a video and you can watch it. Have you seen it?
No, I didn't watch it.
It's so fucked up, obviously. It's so bad. So it's telling kids like to go into their drawers and where to find sharp objects and what, like it's instructing them.
Yeah.
I think that obviously this is, again, people went out and created this. The internet did not like make, form this itself. But that's the effect. The effect is humans feeding off others and doing stupid stuff. And I don't think that that's ever really going to stop. But I thought it was really interesting coming from things like a chain letter back in the day when it was MySpace to now. Yeah. Momo, who's telling kids to kill themselves because people think it's cool to make like an urban legend real, and we have the technology to do that. It's pretty insane.
And that's literally almost the same thing of how Slenderman was like created too. Like it was like two pictures that somebody drew of like this mysterious shadowy figure like haunting some children, and like with creepypasta and all that, people started writing stories and started creating like a mythos behind him. Literally that's why Momo is so interesting, because like we're watching it happen, whereas like we kind of like, at least when Slenderman was a thing, like a lot of the creepypasta stuff had already been established when I had heard of it, but like it's literally like the same thing happening, which is super interesting to see. And it's to see the reaction to it now too, like how like you said, how quickly like people were like, no, like guys, no.
Well, a lot of people were like, it's a hoax, and then it came back as real. And then people, I know someone who's gone to their child's school and like warned parents about this thing. Like, how insane is that? Because someone didn't even create like as you're saying, like a Slenderman, like a creepy photo and put it online. Someone took a picture of something in an art gallery And that's what the internet like took out of it. It's so crazy.
Yeah.
It's really scary when you think of like out of context things.
And especially people like making the video to make it real, which is again literally what they're doing in Smiley. Like they're making the legend real. Guys, it comes full circle. Like
yeah,
Smiley,
and
Slenderman, Momo.
Yeah, and I mean it's the same in Slenderman. Like they're doing the things that Slenderman, the myth tells you to do. Sacrifice someone. They're getting inside their own head about it, and that does make it real. Because if they're acting, if they're taking thoughts and making into actions, that it's technically real now. There's just no Slenderman, but the effects are real. It's pretty insane. Yeah, pretty scary.
It is really scary.
Love this. Very light topic this time, guys. Yeah. We're like, let's talk about millennials. So funny.
I mean, but this is all like way new territory that, that other generations like don't, they didn't have no Slender Man or, well, I mean, I guess they kind of did, just not on the internet. Like,
yeah. No, totally. And there's urban legends just can grow so much more quickly. Yeah. And get so much more scary. Like if you ever see the Momo video, I don't know if has anyone seen it in the chat? It's so crazy because it's got like a hypnotized like spiral kind of thing, and they've like made the mouth move and like have put in a voice. So you just like think about because like Momo's actually saying everything, and you think about like how much work went into it, and I can like from an editing perspective think about someone recording that voice and someone like it's just bizarre to think someone's sitting in their room doing that. It's so scary and so I don't know. Like I think people, how can you find that funny? Yeah, it's just sick and weird. Anyway,
they did it for the lulz, I guess. Like I mean, it does bring it back like that desensitization of the internet. That it can do.
Yeah.
Like, I can only imagine, like, that's the only way I can logic why somebody would find that funny to do is because they don't realize. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, or they're.
Well, I think it's
like,
a joke between friends. Yeah. Totally. Which goes back to Smiley, that's what it is, a joke between friends. So I guess Smiley, if anything, is like a forewarning for Momo.
Smiley predicted Momo way before Momo ever was a thing, you guys.
Yeah. Well, it predicted Momo and it predicted Slender Man because they both wear masks and they both appear when they're called on the internet. Yeah. So bizarre. Darling Darkness, BR, is saying that, are you talking about me? I talked about Pied Piper in my Slender Man review. I totally forgot about that. About how creepy the Pied Piper is and how it would have been cool if they took it to that. Is that what you're saying that I talked about? Because it sounds familiar. It sounds like something I'd say, but I can't. When you put reviews out, you're like, someone's like, oh, do you ever have a review on this movie? I'm like, I have no idea.
Yep. I just rely on B at this point because she'll leave me comments randomly on very old videos and it scares me.
I don't want to see any of that, Okay. So I don't think anyone's seen the Momo.
I just read about it. I didn't want to watch it, so it's just like I'm not gonna give it more. I don't know what my one view is gonna do, but
Yeah. Okay. Have we got anything else on any
the
of?
only other thing was just, I mean, kind of like the same thing with Smiley, like how old Slender Man is at this point by the time the movie came out.
Yeah.
Like it was created in 2009 and the movie came out like almost a decade later. Like
that probably has more to do with getting the rights to be able to.
That's true.
Yeah, I assume. I can't believe Sony would do a video on that, like a movie on that. Like when you think about it, all of the stuff that doesn't make the cut or it's just bizarre to me. But I guess that's again hopping on a trend.
Yeah. I'd be interested
What's
to see
next?
What they cut out of that movie.
What if they make a Momo video? I mean, movie.
Honestly, I wouldn't even be surprised. Or if something comes out that's just like eerily similar to Momo, but we all know that's what it's based on.
Yes.
I would not be surprised at all. Somebody's probably literally writing a script as we speak. I would not be shocked.
should we check out how I've Googled some weird stuff during this episode. It's like Gen Y, millennial, cyberbullying laws, Momo the movie. That does sound good. It does have a ring to it.
Sounds like a musical.
Okay, I'm going on Twitter. I'm trying to dodge spoilers left and right.
I had it pulled up so you didn't have to get on Twitter.
Oh, you do have it up?
Yeah.
It's okay. Okay, what was the result?
Not all that surprising. 62% to Slender Man being more offensive than Smiley. But I'm curious as to anybody in the chat that voted for Slender Man. Did you just vote for it because you thought it was bad?
I assume that people just voted for it because they hadn't seen Smiley.
Yeah, maybe.
But yeah. And what did you guys think made Slender Man a bad movie? Because I don't think it was really the context. It was more the actual like technical aspects of the movie.
Yeah.
And like the writing.
And the twig snapping.
Yeah.
I totally forgot about that until I watched it again.
Speaking of twigs snapping, kudos to Nightmare Maven's beautiful promos this month. If you guys saw them, the videos are amazing. I think they're up on both of our Twitters, so you should go check them out. I love that. Hey, Sinister. And I guess, we didn't really even speak about this. Nightmare Maven.
Oh.
Are you offended by Smiley?
No, I'm not offended by
You're
Smiley.
not?
No, I mean like the language, yes, and the jokes, sure. Like but I understand for the time. So like as a whole, no.
Yeah, I mean, I probably agree. I think the language is really bad. Yeah. But if anything, it's just gonna like come back to bite them on the ass like every 10 years, like everything on the internet does.
Like the law of the internet now.
Yeah, so I think they've got their own there. The Smiley director only, so this is from Bia, the Smiley director only directs with YouTube stars. He did one with Logan Paul too, yeah. But we don't need to bring up Logan Paul.
Interesting. I gotta see this. Yeah,
actually really funny.
YouTube channel.
I had a comment the other day for The Forest. Do you know The Forest movie? Where that girl goes to Japan, like the suicide forest in Japan.
Yeah.
And I said in the review, they should do a found footage thing. And then someone's like, oh my God, you predicted the Jake Paul.
Oh my God.
The Jake Paul, Logan Paul, one of them. Logan Paul, whatever.
Did the suicide video. Jake is the sociopath. There you go.
Oh, okay.
That's
I always thought they were the same guy for so long.
I mean,
so that's quite fun.
I don't like it's understandable to make that mistake, I think.
I have to agree that it's offensive it's offensive, but it's also like the whole context for it is a joke and it's not taking itself too seriously, so it's hard to take it seriously.
Exactly.
With Slenderman, are you offended by it, Vicky?
It's hard because like what offends me doesn't really actually have to do with the movie. It just brought up things about media that offend me and make me angry. I guess no. Like the actual movie itself, no. But it just reminded me of things that do offend me. So like by association, kind of.
Yeah, okay. No, I mean, I don't find the movie offensive because it's not really technically a movie. It's just like all over the place. And if it was, it doesn't really have to be about the Slender Man. Like if it didn't show the Slender Man, I think they say his name like a couple of times. It could be about Momo. We should re-edit it about Momo. We could do that, guys. That would be so easy. Because you just like put Momo over the top of the Slender Man's face.
Can you imagine?
That's so easy. And then we could just put it up on the internet and be like, oh my God, there's this new movie about Momo. No one would know.
We'd get slapped.
And then every time they go to say that Slender Man, we just dub over it. Momo. It's not too bad of an idea. But yeah, the Sony phones kind of offended me. The product placement is just insane within that movie and it's just a bit much. But yeah. But no, I don't find either of these too offensive. For looking at it from a millennial point of view, I think if anything, it shows millennials are different depending on who you're talking about. So anything, it like kind of proves our points that it's not really the same thing, and people just using social media at a younger age doesn't mean they're millennials. And what does the term actually mean, you know?
And how quickly it changes too, like how quickly, like as a group of people, like we change and how people perceive millennials changes too. Just looking at how close these movies kind of are.
Yeah. And with a lot of people who grow up on the internet grow up a lot faster because they have to deal with so many different things. And that's what people say a lot about younger people, millennials. They're so much more involved in politics and things like that because they can get information, whether that's right or wrong information, quite fast. And so it's like, it's just a different world. A different world, man.
After Dark, did you just reference Kung Pao? That's amazing. Sorry, I just had to. I literally took me a second because I've literally never heard anybody talk about that movie, but good one. Thank you. The Taco Bell comment.
Oh, okay.
Good one.
So I think our last question is everyone in, I guess you guys have already, hey, you got your sound back. Okay. I think I've been talking the whole time. Anyone in the comments, I'm sure we've already said that if we're offended or if we're not. But I think some people are. Momo Man versus Bye Bye Man.
That was one in my unpopular horror opinions. A bunch of people are saying they actually like. I didn't even mention the Bye Bye Man, but everyone was like commenting that they like it. That was their unpopular opinion or something.
Okay, people are crazy.
Yeah.
Says I'm frozen.
Trying to see if
I don't know if I am. Oh yeah, I am frozen.
Uh-oh.
No, I'm just holding still. It's the Frozen challenge, what it's called.
She's frozen on my end too. Sorry, guys.
Oh, no.
I thought maybe I could fix it really quick, but you're frozen for me too.
I don't know why that is. That could be my internet, guys.
Uh-oh. I'm offended as usual. Pick better films next time. Thanks, Dee.
If you guys, as always, if you guys do have any topics you'd like us to discuss in the next one, or if you'd like us to talk about any movies in particular that you think have offensive themes, we can definitely draw something out of it. We're very good at that. Yes. I've just talked about the Momo effect and dubbed that a thing from watching the Slender Man and Smiley. Salo versus Trauma. Man, we are not doing Salo, guys. We're not doing Salo. I've tried to do it as a review and I still haven't got all the way through, and I've seen it before. Oh my god, it's just not even worth it.
I just I don't want to watch that movie. I've never seen it and I don't watch it.
There's no point. It's just child porn for 2 hours. Like, it's legit, that's all it is. I'm not even like over exaggerating. And we've already talked about incest anyway for Trauma. So if you guys, STD, SDI, we still got, we can talk about It Follows for sure with the STD, and we can definitely find killer condoms. That's probably not, that's probably prevention, but we can definitely find something. So if you guys want to tweet us or, comment, you guys know where we are. We're available everywhere. Instagram, Twitter.
All of those links for both of us are in the description of this video. So
right, okay. I hope you guys had a good time. I'm assuming I'm still frozen.
I don't know. Yeah, you're frozen.
Yeah. No, I think it probably is my end anyway. But anything else you want to add, Vicky?
Thank you for watching. Next, try and think of some fun things to do, because next episode, I guess, is our 1 year anniversary of doing Does This Offend You? Whoop,
whoop. Yeah, totally.
So you can think of anything special to do. They're talking about yellow stick now. Okay, it's time to end it. All right. They're devolving to the yellow stick.
I don't know. What is yellow stick?
The stick back here.
Oh, okay.
They have a fascination. But yeah, so if you guys can think of anything like fun or like cool or special that we could do for that, also let us know. Message us, send us something, add us on Twitter or something. I don't know. But yeah, so thank you for watching, and we will see you guys in about a month, I guess, with our 1-year anniversary of Done Since I Found You.
Yay! I can't wait, guys. Sorry I'm frozen. My camera just gone off completely. I don't know what's going on. I'll talk to you guys, very soon, and we can't wait to see you then. Remember to hit the thumbs up. I think we've got a couple of trolls came on here. So I appreciate that, guys, and we'll talk soon.
All right.
For our anniversary. Yay!
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Turn this off.